have our favourite characters in Game of Thrones, but let's face it, they aren't always known for making the best decisions. Whether it's screwing over a key ally, screwing up a delicate political situation, or screwing someone they shouldn't, some of their screw-ups have pretty far-reaching and most of the time deadly repercussions. Here's 7 of the biggest mistakes Game of Thrones characters have made. You'd think in a battle of life and death that A, you wouldn't have a cheeky pint before you fought a man 3 times your size, and B, you'd make sure that the half-giant is completely dead before starting your victory dance. Oberyn Martell underestimated the mountain's grabbing range and started his one-man Mexican wave just a tad too soon.
Say it!
The result left his head looking like someone threw up a red velvet cake. If you have an alliance that hinges on you marrying someone's daughter, deciding to marry someone else, then going to a wedding in the house of the family you slighted with your new, hot, and very pregnant wife is a recipe not only for an episode of Jerry Springer, but for a complete disaster. So sorry, Robb Stark, you basically shot yourself in the foot, head, and body multiple times with this one. Agreeing to become the Hand of the King wasn't Ned's biggest mistake. It was actually when he told Cersei Lannister that he knew that the father of her 3 children was actually her twin brother Jaime.
When you play the Game of Thrones, you win, or you die. There is no middle ground.
Admittedly, he was doing this out of duty to try and protect her and her illegitimate children, as well as making sure that the rightful heir ends up on the Iron Throne. Unfortunately for Ned, this sparked a chain of events that led to... Cersei thinks she's much cleverer than she actually is, and rarely do any of her harebrained schemes ever really pan out. Like restoring a religious military order that she ultimately had no control over, who inevitably turned on her and punished her for all those crimes that she's committed, like regicide, treason, and incest. And what better way to let the punishment fit the crime than to strip her, shave her, and march her through the streets.
Shame! Shame! Shame!
Where do you even start with the mistakes that Stannis has made? Let's see. He fails to ally with Renly or Robb Stark to take on the Lannisters. He sails his superior force into an enclosed harbour, only for them to get trapped by a giant chain and then destroyed by wildfire. He puts all his faith into a red priestess. He gets caught up in the northern snow with no food or supply lines, and then decides to sacrifice his own daughter to try and curry some favour with the Lord of Light, only to have his wife hang herself, army desert, and then get sentenced to death by Brienne of Tarth. Oh, Stannis. While Jon certainly has his allies in the Night's Watch, certainly enough to get him voted into the top position as Lord Commander, he has his fair share of enemies too. Enemies that he manages to royally piss off. He had the option to send head troublemaker Alliser Thorne to the far-flung reaches of the Wall. Hell, even Stannis suggested that he send Sir Alliser away, being perhaps the only good idea that Stannis has ever had. But instead, Jon lets him swan about Castle Black, where Sir Alliser forms a mutinous band of brothers who then stab Jon over and over and over again. Lesson learned. But the biggest mistake made by the vast majority of characters in Game of Thrones is placing even an ounce of trust in Peter Littlefinger Baelish. The bizarrely accented Master of Coin is pretty much solely responsible for the downfall of the Stark family, as well as numerous others. He organised the murder of Jon Arryn by manipulating Lysa. He told Catelyn that the weapon used in Bran's murder attempt belonged to Tyrion to make the Starks go after the Lannisters. He marries Lysa to get a title and some land, before pushing her out the moon door. He made best friends with the Lannisters, only to conspire to kill Joffrey with Olenna Tyrell, and he orchestrates the marriage between Sansa and Ramsay. The list goes on and on. I mean, Littlefinger says it the best himself.
I did warn you not to trust me.
So there we are, the biggest mistakes made by our favourites in Westeros. Did I miss any? Chuck them in the comments below. For more GameSpot of Thrones, head to youtube.com/GameSpot, or of course find us on GameSpot.com. All men must subscribe.